Hello and welcome to Unity Church on the Mountain from my home. The title of the talk today will be Anger. But before that, let's begin by affirming together the opening statement. There is only one presence and one power in my life and the universe, God. Let's together take a deep breath and release. And another deep breath in and release. We relax into this moment and go to that secret place within and affirm together the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. So, anger. Anger is a unique emotion. Of those group of emotions which we might think of as negative emotions, because they drain our energy from us, anger is different than all of the others in the sense that it has the power to spur us into action, to kick us into gear, so to speak, and cause us to do something. Now, when anger is in control, that action that we take is liable to manifest in behavior that is not in alignment with our spiritual path. It is likely to be behavior that we regret later. And it might be something that, if you'll remember from a few lessons back, that we should on ourselves about. We say we should not have done that, or we should have done something different, or I should know better, or I know better. Anger. Anger is one of those emotions that has quite a bit of energy associated with it. It is that clenched energy instead of that open energy. Because of this, it manifests in our body quite strongly. You'll notice face is getting flush. Feels like the blood pressure maybe is up. In my body, I notice tension in a certain place in my shoulder. There is almost always, or in almost everyone, some place in the body where if you notice when you're in anger, you can check in with the body and find out where that anger manifests in the body. Because of this, anger can become one of our alarm clocks. We can use this as an opportunity to become aware of ourselves. We feel this familiar tension in the body, and we can become aware that either I am in anger or I am just about to be angry. At this point, after we have that awareness, we can choose to remember the truth. Taking that deep breath and releasing. or just becoming aware of how that anger plays out. But checking in, we can become aware of the accompanying thoughts that go with this emotion. I have found that associated with anger comes a judgment. A judgment about some other person, some situation, judgment about myself. But there is this judgment. Now, what do we know about judgment? Judgment is something that is manifest in the universe. We project it out of ourselves onto something else in the universe. We project something that is going on in us that is very difficult for us to see onto something else into the universe. This is judgment. Judgments are an opportunity to become aware of something about us that we think, with our ego mind, is about somebody else. But when we find ourselves in judgment, know this. And I don't want you to take my word for it, because I really want you to look at your own situation. But be confident that you'll find something within you that is exactly what is being judged out there. Judgment then is an opportunity for us. There's been a theme over the past 2 or 3 talks about need. Inevitably, there is some need that I have that is not being met, that has caused this reaction of judging. Some need. It isn't always a physical need. It could be. What are the physical needs? Things like food, water, shelter, security. Security begins to cross over into a psychological need. These are things that we also need, and they're just as real as our physical needs. We need to be understood. We need to be accepted. We need to feel loved. We need to feel a part of community. And these needs are just as real as the need for food and water and shelter. So look to what need is it that I have that has brought on this judgment, which has brought on this anger. You see how this is really related to the welcoming practice and following the line? When we notice this anger, we check in with the body. We give it a funny name. We sit with it. Where does it feel like? What does it feel like? And we turn it over to spirit. And then we can feel this tug that is the judgment pulling us back off center. And we repeat that process. So what does this judgment feel like? What is this judgment feel like? I sit with it. I turn it over to spirit. And there is this other tug pulling me off my center. That is this unfulfilled need When I get to this level of the unfulfilled need, you see, everything about my being begins to align with Spirit in fulfillment of this need. There's a line in the Lord's Prayer. Give us this day our daily bread. Our daily bread is not about only our food. It's not only about eating bread. Our daily bread is a symbol of our needs. And you see, Spirit is ready to provide us with what we need. We claim that in the Lord's Prayer. So anger, which left unchecked, can rob us of our personal power, of that energy that we have within us that comes from Spirit. It can rob us of that energy and spur us into action. And if it's unchecked, that action is probably not the action that is going to bring us to the next step on our spiritual path. But that motivation, that spur, if we channel that energy through the welcoming practice, to find that judgment, to find then that need. You see what anger has done now? We have turned anger around. We have turned that energy around. Instead of having this anger that robs us of our personal power because it blocks that flow from Spirit, we have instead channeled that energy to Spirit, to be in alignment with Spirit, which opens up that flow of energy, that bountiful and endless supply of energy that comes directly from Source. And we are now open to the flow, and we are ready to do what is ours to do with the guidance of Spirit. So we have taken anger and turned it into an opportunity. This is not something that I'm asking you to believe. I only ask to try out. It has been a very interesting week as I explore my own anger. Anger that I was able to see in myself because I was watching for the should. When I should on myself. You see, this stuff is so related. And the beauty of truth is that it's so simple. It is so simple. There are no advanced teachings in unity. We don't have to graduate from beginner to intermediate to advanced to get deeper and deeper. We only practice these simple truths more and more, and they become more and more a part of our life. It's how Spirit works when we get in that flow. And I think that's what John was talking about in the Gospel of John, chapter 1, when he spoke about the Word. The Word. In Greek, it was logos. And it's not simply a word. It is so much more. When we speak a word, there is this vibration. This vibration begins with the power faculty in, and it radiates out. This word carries with it the information that certain characteristic vibration The image of God. We are created in the image of God. That's in Genesis. This is not, and it's even a misnomer to say created, because it's ongoing. It is this process of vibration that carries that image through God itself. You see, as we are part of that, as we live and move and have our being in spirit, that is this word propagating through all of creation, manifesting that image that we call the Christ in everything. And that is the most basic and simple part of truth, is when we begin to see Christ in everything. Anger can even be something that gives us that opportunity of seeing the Christ in everything. The song that I want to share with you, I call it the gospel of one word. It is taking the King James Version of John 1. And every time it references him or he, I'm using a substitution and putting word in there. And I open yourself to seeing word as more than just a written word on a page, more than just one spoken word, but this dynamic process, this give and take between the masculine and the feminine and the four elements and all of creation as it vibrates and goes forth into this tree that is life. I am the vine and we are the branches. That's what Jesus said. He was trying to bring us to this idea, using the simple language that was available to him to share this wonderful idea that there were no words for. And really, we still struggle to find words. So enough words. I'm going to sing the gospel of one word. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. All things were made by word, and without word was not anything made that was made. In the word was life, and the life was the light of man. and the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. Word was the true light, which lights every man. Word was in the world, and the world was made by word. Word was in the world, and the world it knew Word not. And now, let us affirm together our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love. The power of God protects us. I am the power. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Thank you.